story. My name is Samantha, and I'm 16 years old. And today, I'm about to share my one and only, also the creepiest incident of my life. So this is what happened. It was Friday night and I was having dinner with my family, and we were planning about going somewhere since it was a weekend. After some discussion, we decided to go to my grandma's house, but because of a certain reason, I was not really happy. The reason was obviously not my grandma, but it was her house. So at this point, you must think that it's something about ghosts, but it's not about them. It was just that my grandma was letting someone rent at the top floor of our house. And why? I have no idea. The renter was in his mid-40s or 50s and would repeat clothes thrice a week and always smelled like beer. You see, my grandma is like a really kind person who thinks good for everyone, but however, the renter was not really nice. He would always complain to my grandma about how much me and my brother make noise, and that it's not letting them sleep. Like literally he would complain that even when it was daytime, and was no sign of sleeping. I told my grandma about how annoying he was, but she would say it would be rude. I wonder, why did she let him in at the first place? But I also wanted to see my grandma, so I agreed. The next day we set off to my grandma's house, and she was at the gate welcoming us, but unfortunately, she wasn't the only one. The renter was standing at his window giving a disgusted look on our family, but I was just so habitual of that look that I just ignored him. Grandma had baked her special muffins for us, and I don't know how, but every single grandma likes to bake stuff. Like, you must have heard this line in every single grandma story. Me and my brother ate them as if they were just one piece in the whole world. After we were done with eating, the elders kept on talking, and my brother pulled me outside and told me to play with him. As an older sister, I couldn't deny. So he suggested to play hide and seek, and I agreed since I'm also a huge fan of hide and seek. So of course I was elder, and I was the sinner. Stupid kid rules. Anyways, I counted till 50 and started searching for my brother. Oh, also, did I mention my brother's name? It is Tim, though. I searched around the bushes in the backyard, but I couldn't find him. Then I searched the entire house, but he wasn't there either. Now I was starting to get worried. And then suddenly a thought popped in my mind. What if he is in the renter's house? I got worried because, as I told you, the relationship of me and the renter is not so good. I thought that I can deal with it alone since I was 16. So I gathered some courage and went upstairs. I don't know why, but I didn't want to ring the doorbell because I didn't want to see the renter. Luckily, the door was open. I stepped in and the first thing I sniffed was beer, and something rotten. I didn't feel right, but I had to find my brother. As soon as I took a glance around the room, it was just as I expected it to be. Messy. It hurt to see where it went to after my grandma gave this to the man. I tiptoed towards a room and opened the door and whispered, "Tim? Timothy?" But there was no response. As soon as I went toward the kitchen, the smell got stronger, and there he was, the renter, sitting on the shelf, looking outside the window. Fortunately, he didn't spot me. To my surprise, I could also see a lady's head sticking out for an unclosed drawer in the kitchen. I let out a short shriek and he suddenly looked back as I stopped looking at him. Then he again started looking at the window. Then I heard my brother screaming my name downstairs. The man suddenly stood up, opened the window and shouted, "Shut up, you little toddler! Can't you just look for your goddamn sister yourself?" I sighed and thought that at least I got relief that my brother is downstairs. I was thinking of going back and telling all of this to Mom until my brother screamed back and said, "I saw her coming into your house. Can you search for her?" As soon as I heard it, I rushed downstairs, grabbed my brother's hand, went into my grandma's house and slammed the door shut, and told my parents and grandma everything I saw. They then called the police. After 5 minutes, we could hear the sirens of the police cars, but as soon as they reached our front door, they started beating someone up and telling the person to surrender. Then my mom opened the door, and there he was, the renter in handcuffs. The cops took him to the car and explained to us how he was standing in front of the front door of my grandma's house, ready to murder anyone who'd come out. And about that lady that I saw, she was his ex-wife that he had murdered, and the smell of something rotten was coming from her dead body. Thank God I shut the door that day, otherwise me and my family would be dead until now. From that day, my grandma never let anyone rent on the top floor.